Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and across the globe. I'm Ashwarya and here are the headlines. Verdicts on several crucial issues expected in the Supreme Court today. Apex Court judgments likely on validity of Aadhaar scheme, live streaming of court proceedings and quota benefit in promotions to SC/ST employees. 4 more deaths in Himachal Pradesh in flash floods and rains. Toll rises in the state to 10. Indian Air Force rescues 50 trekkers from Lahore. Over 500 stranded. Rains continue in Punjab and Haryana. Yamuna crosses danger mark in Delhi. Non-performing assets on the decline, says Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, as recoveries have picked up in public sector banks. 1.8 lakh crore rupees expected to be retrieved in 2018-19 through insolvency and bankruptcy code and other means. India, a free society successfully lifting millions out of poverty and into the middle class, says US President Donald Trump at the United Nations General Assembly. Accuses Iranian leaders of sowing chaos, death and destruction in the Middle East. Hassan Rouhani accuses Trump of trying to topple his government. And India settled for a tie against Afghanistan in the Super 4 match at the Asia Cup. Chasing a target of 253 runs to win, India all out for 252. Men in blue are already through to the final. Several crucial verdicts are likely to be pronounced in multiple cases by the Supreme Court today. Among them are the verdict on a batch of pleas challenging the constitutional validity of the Aadhaar scheme and its enabling 2016 law. Now, as many as 31 petitions have been filed in the matter. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra had on 10th of May reserved the verdict after a marathon hearing spanning 4.5 months. Now, a battery of senior lawyers had argued on behalf of the petitioners opposing the Aadhaar scheme on various grounds. A key argument against the Aadhaar scheme was that it was violative of the 9-judge bench verdict that had held that the right to privacy is a fundamental right under the Constitution. The Centre, the Unique Identification Authority of India, the governments of Maharashtra and Gujarat and the RBI had argued in favor of Aadhaar. And during the arguments, the centre had strongly defended its decision to send Aadhaar numbers with the mobile phones. The counsel for one of the petitioners had termed Aadhaar as an electronic leash. On the other hand, the centre had said that the law was valid and allowed minimal invasion to ensure the right of life by millions by ensuring a seamless delivery of subsidies, benefits and services to the poorest of poor. And the Apex Court is also likely to deliver its verdict on the disqualified lawmakers today. Now, the question is whether grant of a stay on the conviction of a disqualified lawmaker by an appellate court would revive his or her membership of the House. A 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra had reserved its order on the plea, which was filed by an NGO, Lok Prahari, on 23rd of July. The top court, while reserving the verdict, had said that a lawmaker whose conviction in a criminal case has not been stayed by an appellate court would stand disqualified from the membership of the House. And the NGO had alleged that the 2013 verdict of the Apex Court was being flouted by the members of Parliament, MLAs and MLCs who continue to hold their membership even after their convictions in criminal cases. The Apex Court on the 10th of July 2013 had struck down Section 8(4) of the Representation of the People Act that gave a convicted lawmaker the power to remain in office on the ground that appeals have been filed within 3 months of conviction. And a verdict on a clutch of petitions seeking live streaming and video recording of the court proceedings across the country is also likely to be pronounced by the Supreme Court today. The court had reserved its verdict in the month of August, saying that it wanted to implement the concept of open court to decongest the courtrooms. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal, appearing for the centre, had said that live streaming could be introduced as a pilot project in the Chief Justice of India's court on the matters of constitutional importance and had submitted suggestions on the guidelines for live streaming. And also the verdict on a petition seeking reconsidering the Apex Court's 2006 judgment putting conditions for granting quota benefits and job promotions for SC/ST employees by a larger bench is likely today. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra is likely to pronounce the verdict. In its 2006 verdict, the Apex Court had said that the states are bound to provide quantifiable data on backwardness, SCs and STs, the facts about their inadequate representation in government jobs and overall administrative efficiency before providing quota in promotions. The centre and various state governments have also sought reconsideration of this verdict on various grounds. Now, the centre has alleged that the 2006 verdict had put unnecessary conditions in granting quota benefits to the SC and ST employees. On to some other news now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a mega rally of party workers in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh on the birth anniversary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay on Tuesday. And saving the country from vote bank politics, he said, is the BJP's objective. He also asserted that the lotus will bloom, however much it is maligned by the Congress party.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday addressed the Karyakarta Mahakumbh in Bhopal in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh. Targeting opposition parties, the Prime Minister alleged that the Congress and other opposition parties are pursuing vote bank politics that is eating away the country like termites over the past 7 decades. He said his government believes in social justice for all.
वोट बैंक की राजनीति ने समाज को दीमक की तरह तबाह कर दिया है। आजादी के 70 साल में जो बर्बादी आई, उससे अगर देश को बचाना है तो हमारे सामने ये वोट बैंक की राजनीति की दीमक से देश को मुक्त कराना, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विशेष जिम्मेवारी है.
Mocking the Congress, the Prime Minister said the 125-year-old party has been reduced to begging with small parties for alliances. He also said the Congress found it easier to indulge in mudslinging than debating on development.
जरा कांग्रेस के लोग आत्मचिंतन करो, ये आपका बेहाल क्यों हुआ? और आप इतने पराजय के बाद भी सुधरने को तैयार नहीं है. इतना बड़ा 440 में से 44 हो गए, आत्मचिंतन करने को तैयार नहीं है. और उसका कारण अहंकार, उसका कारण ये गद्दियां तो हमारे लिए रिजर्व है. पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय.
Paying tribute to the Sangh co-founder Deen Dayal Upadhyay on his 102nd birth anniversary, Prime Minister Modi said his life remains an inspiration. He also remembered former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी की जन्म जयंती है. शायद विश्व में हम ही एक ऐसी पार्टी है जिस पार्टी की विचारधारा को जिस एक शब्द में जाना जाता है, वो है एकात्म मानववाद.
In his address, BJP President Amit Shah called on party workers to ensure the party's victory in upcoming 5 state elections and the 2019 Lok Sabha election.
19 प्रदेशों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनी है. इस महाकुंभ में जितने भी कार्यकर्ता हैं, लाखों की संख्या में मध्य प्रदेश के हर बूथ से 65,000 से ज्यादा बूथों से जो कार्यकर्ता हैं, हम सब एक संकल्प लेकर जाएंगे कि आने वाले 5 चुनाव और आने वाला लोकसभा का चुनाव ये मध्य प्रदेश से एक ऐसी हवा बनाए जो हवा धीरे धीरे आंधी में और लोकसभा का चुनाव आते आते सुनामी में परिवर्तित कर भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ध्वज फिर से एक बार ऊंचा करने का काम करें।
हमने जो कहा करके दिखाया, अगर उन कामों का भी विवरण दें तो पूरा दिन यहां लग जाए। अरे तुमने तो मेरे मध्य प्रदेश को बीमारू बना के रखा था। जहां चले जाओ दुनिया में मध्य प्रदेश के बारे में कहा जाता था बीमारू प्रदेश, बीमारू राज्य। राहुल बाबा बीमारू से मध्य प्रदेश को हमने विकासशील राज्य बनाया, विकासशील राज्य से अब विकसित राज्य बनाया और आगे 5 साल में कार्यकर्ता बहनों और भाइयों मध्य प्रदेश को समृद्ध राज्य बनाएंगे, समृद्ध राज्य बनाएंगे।
मेरा बूथ सबसे मजबूत बूथ।
Prime Minister Modi also exhorted BJP workers to follow the mantra of Mera Booth Sabse Mazboot to ensure the party's victory in the upcoming elections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley chaired the annual review meeting on public sector banks' performance and reforms in New Delhi on Tuesday. He said that non-performing assets are on the decline as recoveries have picked up. Arun Jaitley also asked the public sector banks to take effective action in cases of fraud and willful loan defaults. He also exuded confidence that India's economy will sustain an annual growth rate of around 8%.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley reviewed the performance of public sector banks with their chief executives and other whole-time directors in New Delhi on Tuesday. The Finance Minister asserted that the impact of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Court was clearly visible as non-performing assets were on the decline. He also exhorted banks to implement all steps needed to ensure clean lending and effective action in cases of fraud and willful default.
Recoveries have picked up not only because of the resolutions which have taken place in the NCLT, but they've also picked up because those debtors who fear that they are likely to cross the red line are paying up in anticipation of an IBC process being compelled on them.
Jaitley also said that formalization of the economy has enabled better assessment of financial capacity and risks. This, coupled with massive financial inclusion, has unlocked purchasing power that will drive India's economic growth.
We want this cycle of high consumption, high growth, NPA recoveries, credit offtake, really to be utilized to the fullest in order to help as far as the economy is concerned.
Banks have stepped up efforts as far as recovery of bad loans is concerned. Lenders have made recovery of 36,551,000 crore rupees in the first quarter of the current fiscal. This is 49% higher than the same quarter of the last fiscal. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Finance Minister also launched a web portal on Tuesday. The portal will enable in-principle approval for MSME loans up to 1 crore rupees within 59 minutes. The portal aims to set a new benchmark in loan processing and reduces the turnaround time from 20 to 25 days to just 59 minutes. The loan can be taken from SIDBI, SBI, Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, Vijaya and Indian Bank. The loans are undertaken without human intervention till sanction and or all disbursement stage. A user-friendly platform has been built where MSME borrower is not required to submit any physical documents for in-principle approval.
The MSME sector has been a matter of great concern because it's one of the largest employers, and therefore credit availability to them to be free from all forms of red tapeism, to be done online and within the shortest period is the second initiative.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Tuesday attended the 29th anniversary of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan at Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. In his address, Vice President Naidu said that students should work together for the development of the country with a sense of collective responsibility. He said that the role of education is to enhance knowledge and self-confidence and not just getting certificates and jobs. He also called skill development a pressing need in today's times.
We are fortunate. The entire world economy is going slow down and Indian economy is moving up. World Bank, World Economic Forum, ADB, International Monetary Fund, Moody ratings, everybody is saying India is going to become a strong economy. We are fortunate to be there in that period. It is our duty, our endeavor, all of us today to work together, work hard, join Government of India, Government of the state and universities and institutions together and make people to participate in public programs so that we can make a strong and stable and prosperous nation.
And Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh on Tuesday said that India and France share unique commonality of views on burning global issues and their enhanced coordination on the global stage would pave the way for a more secure, peaceful and a safer world. He made these remarks when a 4-member French parliamentary delegation called on him in New Delhi. The deputy chairman said that the meeting between the representatives of parliaments of the two countries would be beneficial in sharing their rich experiences and learning from each other's best practices. He said that India-France friendship is firmly rooted in the excellent bilateral understanding and mutual respect, as well as in their commitment to the shared values of democracy, liberty, equality and fraternity. The delegation, led by Vayon Colin, also appreciated the friendly relationship between the two countries and expressed the hope that such visits would strengthen the existing bonds. In Breakfast News, time for a very short break here. We'll be right back with more news. Welcome back after the break. Let's get you all the weather updates. And the death toll in Himachal Pradesh, battered by heavy rains and snowfall in Lahaul and Spiti, has risen to 10, with 4 more deaths being reported on Tuesday. Officials said that a rescue operation will be launched today in a search of a team of 6 trekkers from New Delhi and Shimla who went missing in Kinnaur district. Earlier on Tuesday, about 50 IIT students on a trek in Himachal Pradesh's Lahaul Valley were rescued by the Indian Air Force helicopters, while over 500 people remain stranded in other areas in Lahaul and Spiti district. The Met Department has predicted that the weather will hold today as well. Meanwhile, rains continue to lash many districts in Punjab, Haryana and Uttarakhand. However, no fresh casualties were reported in the other states. In Punjab, a 5-member state disaster response cell was set up by the state government to monitor the situation in the wake of rains that lashed the region during the past 4 days. And in Delhi, the Yamuna River has crossed the danger mark and is currently flowing at 205.4 meters. Authorities said that the water level is expected to further increase. Chief Secretary Anshu Prakash reviewed the flood situation in the Yamuna floodplains and ordered erection of streams and distributions of food among those affected. On to some other news, Environment Minister Harshvardhan on Tuesday inaugurated the air pollution control device wind augmentation purifying unit at the ITO intersection and Mubarka Chowk in New Delhi. Now, this device called Vayu is developed by the Council of Science and Industrial Research to mitigate air pollution at traffic junctions. Along with particulate matter, it will remove poisonous gases like volatile organic compounds and carbon monoxide as well. The device works on 2 principles, mainly wind generation to dilute air pollutants while removing active pollutants. Describing the salient features of Vayu, Dr. Harshvardhan said that the device consumes only half a unit of electricity for 10 hours of running and has a maintenance cost of only 1,500 rupees per month. He further added that 54 such devices will be launched in Delhi till 15th of October.
आसपास की हवा को बेहतर बनाना ये इसका उद्देश्य है। आने वाले समय में इसके कई सारे मॉडल्स नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिज़ाइन के माध्यम से आईआईटी मुंबई के इंडस्ट्रियल डिज़ाइन डिपार्टमेंट के माध्यम से विकसित किए जा रहे हैं ताकि बस शेल्टर्स पर और दूसरे स्थानों पर इसको हम लगा सकें।
The centre has approved the introduction of a new program in public health for postgraduate students to create a dedicated cadre of professionals and researchers in the field. Now, giving its nod to the Masters in Public Health program, the University Grants Commission, or the UGC, has asked all the higher education institutions to consider introducing it in the list of full-time postgraduate courses offered by them. The model curriculum of the Master's program has been prepared by a task force set up under the Union Health Ministry. Both science and non-science graduates and those graduated in medicine and dentistry will be eligible to enroll for this PG program. News from the United Nations General Assembly session. Well, as he addressed world leaders at the 73rd session of the UNGA, US President Donald Trump on Tuesday held up India as an example of a country that has successfully lifted millions of its citizens out of poverty. While praising India, Donald Trump called India a part of a beautiful constellation of countries working for a common future. This was Donald Trump's second address to the United Nations General Assembly. While lavish praises for India, Donald Trump had a warning for China, saying that a trade imbalance was not acceptable.
There is India, a free society, over 1 billion people, successfully lifting countless millions out of poverty and into the middle class. There is Saudi Arabia, where King Salman and the Crown Prince are pursuing bold new reforms. Many countries are pursuing their own unique visions, building their own hopeful futures, and chasing their own wonderful dreams of destiny, of legacy, and of a home. The whole world is richer. Humanity is better because of this beautiful constellation of nations, each very special, each very unique, and each shining brightly in its part of the world.
And US President Donald Trump also attacked the Iranian leadership, accusing it of sowing chaos, death, and destruction across the Middle East. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly in New York, he defended his decision to abandon the nuclear deal. Donald Trump compared US relations with Iran to what he called were improved ties with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, praising him for halting nuclear and missile tests. He also called on the OPEC countries to stop raising oil prices. Donald Trump, in his speech, also said that he rejected the ideology of globalism and embraced the doctrine of patriotism. His comments were in complete contrast to what the Secretary General Antonio Guterres had said a few minutes ago, focusing on the need for multilateralism. Donald Trump also came down heavily on the United Nations, saying that it must become more effective and accountable.
Iran's leaders sow chaos, death, and destruction. They do not respect their neighbors or borders or the sovereign rights of nations. Instead, Iran's leaders plunder the nation's resources to enrich themselves and to spread mayhem across the Middle East and far beyond.
And Iranian President Hassan Rouhani criticized Washington for its hostile policy towards his country, and he said that the US approach was doomed to failure. In his speech to the United Nations General Assembly, he said that the United States had waged an economic war against Iran by reimposing unilateral sanctions.
دولت ایالات متحده آمریکا دست کم در صورت هیئت حاکمه فعلی خود عزم آن دارد که کلیه نهادهای بین المللی را بیخاصیت سازد. با چه معیاری می توانیم با چنین دولت بدعهدی عهد جدید ارتجاع بزرگتر آنکه دولت آمریکا
Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Tuesday held bilateral talks with the leaders from Fiji, Estonia and Suriname on the sidelines of the 73rd session of UNGA. She is scheduled to address the general debate of the UNGA on 29th of September. In her bilateral meeting, Sushma Swaraj discussed diverse issues including defense cooperation, trade and capacity building. Sushma Swaraj met with the Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama, Foreign Minister of Estonia Sven Mikser and Foreign Minister of Suriname Deborah Polak-Bigle. The Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ravish Kumar tweeted, building upon a historical relationship with an important Pacific partner of India, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Fijian Prime Minister discussed development assistance, capacity building and defense cooperation. Ravish Kumar also tweeted, highlighting the strong cultural connect as Sushma Swaraj met with the Foreign Minister of Estonia, Sven Mikser, and had a good exchange of views on intensifying cooperation in IT, trade and investment, culture, education, tourism and multilateral fora. Now, noting that India and Suriname share close, warm and friendly relations, Kumar tweeted that the two leaders discussed cooperation in capacity building, traditional medicine, pharma and followed up on President Ramnath Kovind's visit to the South American country in June this year. Sushma Swaraj also participated in the G4 meeting with her counterparts from Brazil, Germany and Japan. And on to sports news now. Afghanistan pulled off a thrilling tie against India in the Super 4 match of the Asia Cup yesterday, chasing a target of 253 runs to win. The Indian team was all out on 252, leading to a tie. The men in blue needed 7 runs off the final over, needing a run off 2 balls to win with just 1 wicket in hand. Jadeja lost his wicket, scooping the ball for a catch at the mid-wicket. Now, KL Rahul and Ambati Rayudu gave a solid start to India earlier, with both having a partnership of 110 runs for the first wicket. Rahul scored 60 while Rayudu scored 57. And for Afghanistan, Aftab Alam, Mohammad Nabi and Rashid Khan picked up 2 wickets each. Earlier, batting first, Afghanistan scored 252 for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted 50 overs. Mohammad Shahzad was the highest scorer for the match with his knock of 124 runs off 116 deliveries. For India, Ravindra Jadeja was the pick of the bowlers as he took 3 wickets. And Pakistan will be up against Bangladesh today. Both Pakistan and Bangladesh are in the hunt for the final berth. The winner will face India in the final on 28th. An Indian women's team defeated Sri Lanka in the 5th and the final T20 by 51 runs to clinch the series 4-0. Chasing a target of 157 runs, the Lankan side was all out for a paltry 105 runs. Anushka Sanjeevani scored 29 runs for Sri Lanka, while rest of the team failed to contribute much. For India, Poonam Yadav picked up 3 wickets. Deepti Sharma and Radha Yadav took 2 wickets apiece. Earlier, batting first, the Indian side was all out for 156 runs. Skipper Harmanpreet Kaur was the highest scorer with her knock of 63 runs. That's all in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.